Hello, and welcome to the Daily Space for today, Wednesday, August 19th, 2020. I am your host, Annie Wilson. Most Mondays through Fridays, our team will be here putting science into your brain. Usually Wednesdays are for Rocket Roundup, and today is no different. Let's get to it, shall we? So, first up, Ariane Space launched an Ariane 5 rocket on Saturday, August 15th at 22:04 UTC. There were 3 payloads on board: Galaxy 30, MEV-2, and BSat-4 Bravo. According to the launch press kit from Ariane Space, Galaxy 30 is the first replacement satellite in Intelsat's North American Galaxy Fleet refresh. It will eventually replace Galaxy 14 in its current slot at 25 degrees west in early 2021. BSat-4 Bravo is a backup to the BSat-4 Alpha satellite, which was launched in September of 2017. It will provide direct-to-home television for ultra-high-definition video across Japan for Japanese customers. It has a planned service life of at least 15 years. MEV-2, short for Mission Extension Vehicle 2, was supplied by Northrop Grumman for Space Logistics LLC. It is the first satellite servicing vehicle launched by Ariane Space. The MEVs are designed to latch onto a satellite that is out of propellant but is otherwise operational, and extend the useful life of the satellite by using the thrusters on the MEV to keep the satellite in its proper orientation. After about 5 years, the MEV will move the satellite into a graveyard orbit, undock, and move on to another satellite that needs its services. In the case of Intelsat 1002, MEV will dock with the satellite and help with station keeping. That's literally keeping the satellite where it's supposed to be for the next 5 years or so before the satellite is moved to the graveyard orbit, after which MEV will be able to move on to help another satellite. And of course we have launch video. Reminder, rocket launches are loud.
À tous de DDO, attention pour les décomptes finales.
This is all going to be in French, by the way.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top.
It will take off. It just takes a minute.
Allumage Vulcain.
This is totally normal. There it goes. There it
Allumage
goes.
VAP. Décollage.
And there goes the rocket. It is totally normal for there to be that long pause before it goes. Okay. On Tuesday, August 18th at 14:31 UTC, another batch of 58 satellites were added to the Starlink constellation by Falcon 9 rocket that was launched from Slick 40 at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, joining the more than 600 Starlinks already on orbit. The confusingly named Starlink 10 mission is actually the 11th Starlink mission. It's called Starlink 10 because it's the 10th launch of the version 1.0 Starlink satellites. Like some other Starlink launches, this one included rideshare payloads, 3 Earth-observing satellites owned by Planet Labs. In this case, it's SkySat 19, 20, and 21. Joining 18 other satellites in the SkySat constellation, these satellites will provide high-resolution imaging available to a variety of governmental, commercial, academic, and nonprofit organizations. This flawless launch with near-perfect weather conditions had an instantaneous launch window, meaning it had to launch at the exact time in order for the satellites to make it to their intended locations on orbit. Like the satellites launched in Starlink 19, these satellites include sun visors that are designed to reduce their reflectivity. For those of you keeping score at home, this was the 6th flight for the Falcon 9 booster Bravo 1049.6, which makes it the most reused and landed booster. The 2 fairing halves were also previously flown, and Miss Tree successfully caught a fairing half in her net. And this is the video of the launch.
Okay, so we're in the final phases of the countdown. Let's
Stage
watch
one,
as
startup
Falcon
pressures.
9 takes
T-minus
our
15
58
seconds.
Starlink satellites and
Falcon
3
9
planet
is beginning
SkySats
flight.
into orbit.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. Ignition. And liftoff for the Falcon 9. Go Starlink.
Stage one, propulsion done.
I love how the camera shakes.
A successful liftoff of Falcon 9
Power and
from
telemetry
Space
nominal.
Launch Complex 40 for this 11th Starlink mission. The 3 planet SkySats and our 58 Starlink satellites are on their way to space. In about 10 seconds, we will be approaching max Q. Merlin engines are now
Vehicle
throttling
supersonic.
down as they anticipate the moment of greatest aerodynamic pressure.
You should be able to see the cone. There you can see the cone. It
Max
has
Q.
it has an official name, but I
Alright,
forget what the
we just
official
went
name
through max
is.
Q, and the vehicle is now supersonic.
And you don't hear the supersonic boom because the rocket engines are so freaking loud. But I thought that cone was really cool and I wanted to share it with y'all. All right, and it's not a SpaceX launch without a SpaceX landing. So of course we have video of that.
You
Here we
should
go.
see the
Stage
plume
2
from the
FTS is
rocket
saved.
appear on the screen here.
Stage
in
one,
a
landing
second.
leg deploy.
Bullseye.
Our touchdown and shutoff.
Stage
Successful
one, landing
landing
confirmed.
of the first stage booster. Once again, this is the 6th time that we have utilized this booster on a mission, also marking its
6th reuse. I apologize for cutting her off. All right, and for the last item in this week's spaceflight news, we look at something that's coming down rather than going up, as Japan's last HTV cargo vessel was set loose from the International Space Station yesterday. JAXA's 9th and final H2 transfer vehicle, named Kunotori, my apologies, was unberthed from the ISS yesterday with literally tons of garbage, unneeded or outdated equipment, and a large batch of old ISS station batteries aboard. Depending on atmospheric conditions, it will be burning up in the atmosphere at some point around 7:07 UTC Thursday morning, high over the South Pacific. JAXA's next resupply mission to the International Space Station won't be until February 2022, with the new and upgraded HTVX, which will feature an empty mass 1 metric ton less than the current model, 1.8 metric tons greater net cargo capacity, a lower cost of construction, and various other advancements. It will be launched aboard JAXA's next generation rocket, the H3. Kunotori, which means white stork, a cultural symbol indicating hopes and dreams for the future, was launched aboard Japan's last H2 Bravo rocket this past May and was set free from the ISS at 17:36 UTC on August 18th. And to wrap things up, here's a running tally of a few spaceflight statistics for the current year. There are currently 3 toilets in space. We've burned up 2 toilets in the atmosphere this year. Humanity, this year alone, has put a whopping 688 satellites into orbit, with 672 of those satellites coming directly from rocket launches. There have been 64 total launch attempts this year, including 7 failures. I keep track of orbital launches by where they launched from, also known as spaceport. Here's that breakdown. China 22, USA 21, Kazakhstan 6, French Guiana 3, Japan 3, Russia 3, New Zealand 3, Iran 2, Israel 1. Your space fact for the week comes to us from NASA. If you could stand at the Martian equator, the temperature at your feet would be like a warm spring day, but at your head, it would be freezing cold. And that rounds out our show for today. Thank you so much for listening. I have been your host, Annie Wilson. Today's script was written and edited by David Bullard, Gordon Dewis, Allie Pelfrey, and myself. Our web content will be produced by Beth Johnson. Our executive producer and fearless leader is Dr. Pamela Gay. The Daily Space is a product of the Planetary Science Institute, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to exploring our solar system and beyond. We are here thanks to the generous contributions of people just like you. The best way you can support us is through Patreon at patreon.com/CosmoQuestX. Like us? Please share us. You never know whose life you can change by adding a daily dose of science.